You're listening to the Gleneagle INEC Arena podcast. Keep up to date with all our events by following us on Facebook or visiting inec.ie. After forming in 2003, the Coronas have enjoyed massive success over the last 17 years, with 5 studio albums and a new live album under their belt, with hits including Heroes or Ghosts, San Diego Song, Find the Water and Give Me a Minute. Coming up in this podcast, I catch up with frontman Danny O'Reilly and we chat about the last 17 years of the Coronas. We talk big plans for 2020 and the news of guitarist Dave McPhillips' departure in 2019. If you like this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and follow us online at Gleneagle INEC Arena for more. Danny O'Reilly, welcome to the Gleneagle INEC Arena podcast. It's great to have you.
Thanks very much, Carl. How are you?
I'm very good. You're a busy man the last couple of days with you're in between your tour of Dublin.
Yeah, we decided to do a world tour of Dublin, which was a bit of crack. Played in some venues that we haven't played in a while, and we always do our sort of Christmas Olympia shows. So last weekend we did 3 of them, but before that, building up into it, we decided to go back to some of the old venues that we used to play, like Whelan's. We did a show in Whelan's, a show in the Academy, and then we did a sort of a rehearsal show at the start in the Soundhouse. And it was great, really good, playing small venues, trying to bring the show to smaller crowds. We're sort of used to doing that because we're at different stages, obviously, in different countries. So we're sort of used to playing, say, small pubs and clubs and then moving up and playing bigger venues and you know, really bigger ones then sometimes as well. So, but the Olympia was great. 3 nights last weekend. It was deadly. And now we just have one more now on Vicar Street on Monday, which I'm really excited about. We've never, ever played Vicar Street as a headliner as the Coronas. We've done a few little charity gigs and stuff, but because the politics of MCD and Aiken, there's very few bands who tend to do both, and so you're sort of usually the way it works is you're either an MCD band or an Aiken band, and us for the most part, apart from the Live at the Marquee shows, which is an Aiken gig, which we've done for years, we tend to be mainly MCD, so we'd always do Olympias as opposed to Vicar Street. And don't get me wrong, Olympia is my favourite venue in the world, but I always wanted to do Vicar, so this year we managed to talk MCD into letting us do one, and so we're doing a Vicar next Monday, and as I say, that's going to be great crack. 23rd, like Christmas Eve. We're not having any support. We're getting a load of guests in, and it's just going to be a Christmas vibe and a load of crack. Sorry, that was a really long answer to you. What did you say? How are you? And I just went on a rant for 20 minutes. Podcast done.
Yeah, I think that's the podcast recorded. Thank you. I saw on Facebook that was your 35th.
That's what someone said. I find it hard to believe. Apparently, that's what Noel McHale from MCD said to us before. He said, "This is your 35th sold out Olympia." And we were going through the dates, going, is that possible? And I suppose it is. It was one, we've been playing it for 10 years. So the first year we probably did 1 night, second year 2 nights. And then we had the year we did 3 nights, but the power went one of the nights, so we had to do a 4th night,
right?
Which was great fun. And then we had 1 year we did 6 in a row, then another we did 4. So it gets up there. It's around that anyway. So, we're not still 100% sure if it is 35, but over the 10 years, we've definitely done, around 30 anyway. Yeah.
You're probably the only band in the whole world that have done 35 sold out shows.
Yeah, apparently we took the title from Mary Black. She had done the most before us.
Right.
So keeping it in the family there. But I mean, it's mad. It's such an amazing venue, and it's sort of, our Christmas shows there now have become a thing, like almost like the Panto.
Yeah.
Like where people, like when we announced those gigs, we released a single in the summer, but we're not releasing new music, so we said, okay, we'll put on an Olympia and fingers crossed it'll sell or whatever. And you know, the tickets sold out in the pre-sale alone, like it was gone. And you know, we did the 3 Olympias and all the other gigs, so like we did 7,500 tickets in 20 minutes or something. Like it was just bananas, like, because people love those small shows, they love the Olympia. Whereas I'd say if we had announced a 3 arena, say we didn't do any of the small shows, we wouldn't have sold 7,500 tickets in 20 minutes. People love the buzz of Christmas, going to the Olympia, having their night out or whatever. And as I say, it's sort of like the Panto now. It's part of the calendar. Like, so long may it continue. We'll keep it going for as long as they'll have us back, you know. So it's a great night. And it's mad that we've played so many. But it's funny, like, when we first, like, that was an ambition of ours. I remember going to gigs in the Olympia, going to see the Frames, going to see Picture House, I remember one time, and just going, if we got to play here, like, and then even when I was a kid hanging around backstage when my ma was playing there, just going, oh, imagine, like, you know. But so it's hard to believe that we've been there so often, and the crew and everything there, the local the staff and all, they're all lovely. Like, so it's sort of really look forward to those few days when you're in there. I can walk home. I'm only living in Rathmines, like do the sound check, put the headphones in, walk home. And it's just a nice vibe being in such a beautiful venue, so close to home. And you have your family and your friends and everything coming down, so it's great.
Yeah, and like that's a tradition at this stage now, every Christmas in the Olympia, but it's also the same in Killarney as well, like, because 100%. You've been coming to Killarney for a long time.
100%. And I remember the first time we were added to the bill, I think like they used to do the sort of special where there'd be 4 big bands. It was almost like a little festival that they would have around the 28th, and you know, we started as like the first band of the 4 big names, and then we moved up to we're in the second slot now, like, and you could see it building each year, and it was great. And then we got to headline it, and now we just do our own show there almost every Christmas, and it's amazing because, again, a bit like the Olympia in that way, even out of album cycle we can do one, and it'll be full. Like, it's amazing. The people just keep coming back. They know it's a good night out. It's always either 27th, 28th, 29th or 30th, like, and it's just, it's that thing in the calendar, like, great night out, great crack, and it's a great room, and it's always, you forget how big it is until you go down there every year and you go, oh God, yeah, like, because it's like, it is like 3 Olympias put together. Like, the cap is now 42 or something,
just under 4,200,
in the big room, you know, and that's, you know, 2.5 Olympias. It's like, it's the biggest venue in Ireland, like, you know what I mean? Like, the marquee is like an erect, like a tent that goes in there, you know what I mean? But I would say, apart from the 3 Arena, like, and we were only talking about this last week, there is no venue in Dublin that is like 5,000-6,000 indoor venue that, you know, you can put gigs all year round. Now, they have gigs in the summer, obviously, in Trinity Series and stuff, but they're outdoors. You couldn't do that in November, December, like, you know. And even the New Year's Eve thing can be a bit iffy because it's like the weather. If the weather isn't good, and, you know, you might not get people down in the rain or whatever. But like, to have a venue that size and like multi-purpose the way the INEC is, like, and it's just amazing. And it's always tends to always be our last gig of the year. The odd time we would have a gig on New Year's Eve, but it's always our last gig of the year, as you know well. We have connections in Dingle and Kerry, and it's always the start of my, you know, holidays. You know.
Talk to me about coming down to Kerry, as in, because I know your mum has a house back in Dingle. How long?
Yeah, back west.
Is that like, has it been there since you were kids, or is it something?
Yeah, well, we used to go down initially just on holidays, and my ma became friends with a few musicians down there, Seamus Begley and a few of the lads down there, and we used to just go down when we were about 10, 11, and Noxie as well, and our bass player, Noxie's parents and my parents are best mates. So we would go down on holidays, like all the 2 families, and we'd rent a house or whatever, and they fell in love with the place, and then they decided to get a little house there out west, sort of near Coos there, and we've been going down ever since, and like I'd spend a good bit of time there. I love going down in the winter for a little while, not for too long, because you know yourself, it can get dark and cold and lonely. But like, I'd say to some of the locals, going, I love it down here in the winter, and they go, yeah, try and spend a whole winter down here, and then try and do it every year. Like, you know, it's grand for a few weeks, like, you know.
Christmas is lovely, or you know, a few weeks in January, but February,
exactly, when there's nothing going on.
No.
But the thing about Dingle now is, like, every month there's something else happening. There's so much going on. There's festivals every single month. I was only down there for the first time for the food festival this year, and it was amazing. So much crack, like, really good vibe, and really busy, but not busy like New Year's Eve is busy, where it's like you can't move in the place. And like, we tend to stay in now on New Year's Eve, or we'd go down to the local sometimes, or maybe, you know, maybe go over to Ballyferder or something, but we wouldn't even go into Dingle because it's just too wild. Or we might go in early, you know, but New Year's Day and even the 2nd is often better crack, because, you know, it's funny because now I'm considering, like, the people who come down for New Year's, they're blow-ins, like, they're tourists, whereas I feel like I'm a local now because we've been going for so long. It's like, avoid those dubs, like, you know, they're only in for New Year's Eve, you know, we'll have a bit of crack on the 1st and 2nd, but I mean, we spend so much time down in Dingle over the years. Like, as I say, I go down a few times a year down to the house, and the Crones will go down there and write. We wrote a lot of our stuff down there. Like, every album, pretty much, we've at least written a bit of it there, if not all of it, and it's the same with this one, you know.
Do you find you get more inspiration writing outside of not even your comfort zone? Because I know you live in Dublin, so do you find you just write better when you travel down to, let's say, Dingle?
Yeah, well, personally, definitely, I like to just go down there by myself before the lads will come down and work on songs, and I'll just lock myself away for couple of weeks. And I used to try and finish off songs. Like I try and write full songs, but these days I just try and get an idea. Like could be a little verse or a little chorus, and like try and get as many of them as I can, and little bits of magic. Oh, that sounds cool. That's a little 2-line hook thing. That could be cool. Yeah. I'll use that at some stage, you know, and next time we're grooving on a song, I'll try that melody on it or whatever. And so I'll do that first, and then the boys will come down. But we always just, we always worked well when we just locked ourselves away, like same as that. Like it's just, you know, and it's the pressure of going to studio, you know yourself. Like if you're booked into a rehearsal space, and you're loading in, you're setting up the gear, that takes an hour. Yeah. And then it's like, all right, lads, we have to rehearse here. And okay, have we got to be creative here? Okay, right, we'll grab a quick coffee. All right, the clock is ticking here. Okay, right, we have to be finished at 4 o'clock. Let's work on this new song. And it's just a bit like work. Mm-hmm. Whereas when we go down to Kerry, we'll plan on going for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And the first day we'll just set up the gear, and then we'll leave it for a day. Like we won't even pick up our instruments, and we'll just chill out, go for walks, go into town, a couple of pints or whatever it is, and just literally be on holidays almost, like, you know, and just relax and watch Netflix, whatever. And then after a while you go, I sort of want to go over in there and play, like, and you sort of feel like it's drawing you, and you see your gear set up there, and you might even have a couple of glasses of wine or something. Lads, we'll have a little mess around, like, and it's real, like you want to do it, as opposed to the clock is ticking and you're in for a certain segment rehearsing, like. So that's why it works well for us. We set up the gear just in the living room. It doesn't sound amazing. It sounds fine. But, you know, if we went to a rehearsal space or a proper studio, it would sound better. But that's part of the charm, I think. If you can get it sounding good in a room that doesn't sound amazing, then you know it's better, you know. And it's like, you know, if you can make it sound good here. And we would just record what we were working on iPhone memos. We don't have fancy gear or anything like that. Initially, when we're writing, we'll just... okay, do that song again, and then if we work on it the next day, it's improved a little bit, we'll delete that one and iPhone memo the next one. And that song has come on a little bit, record that, and then eventually we might bring our engineer down, Darren Clark, who's brilliant, and he might come down with just a real simple, just little rig and just record us pretty much live into his laptop and a little Pro Tools rig, and we'll demo quickly the songs, and that's them written and ready to record then, you know.
When you say you go down on your own before the lads, have they ever come down and you've had feck all done?
Yeah.
And you're just sat around. How do they react to that? Do they expect you to write like 100%?
I think maybe they take it for granted. Like they wouldn't be like, "What do you mean you've nothing done?" I'd be just like, "Lad, sorry, I didn't get much done there. I was stuck into that new season of whatever it's on TV. Like, you know, I was catching up on Game of Thrones. I didn't get anything done. Like, you know." And they'd be just laughing. You know, they wouldn't care. Like, you know, and then we'll just go, "All right, sure, we'll just mess around." And oftentimes just, you know, we can write a song, just the three of us, just or four of us, just, you know, jamming around and not really, something might come out of that, you know. So as I say, in the early days it was a lot more like, right, Danny, have you got the songs together? What are they like? But now it's a lot more like I might just go, lads, I've nothing really, you know, or I'll have a few old voice memos that we look on the phone and, you know, from years ago even, and we go, we mess around with that for a while, and then we just start jamming or whatever. And so it's different. It can happen totally different ways, different songs, it works different ways. So no, they would never be, you know, but at the same time, you know, I might have a little bit of a verse and chorus and I just send them the voice memo, and for whatever reason, I don't know why this is, but I don't send it into the group, the band group, right? I send it to them all separately, right?
Okay.
Just because I don't know why. I want direct feedback, or else I don't want any feedback at all. Like, whereas if I put it in the group and it's just dead air, that's like, oh God, no one likes that at all. But if I would send it to someone direct, they'll say something back. They'll go, oh yeah, I like that little bit, or yeah, maybe not. But at least I'm getting feedback. Where I throw in the group, it's just like dead air. I'm like, oh really? God,
Well, you know, then if they're not replying, maybe move on.
That's it.
Do you find do you feel pressure sometimes? Obviously you got 6 albums now. Do you know, when you're writing, do you constantly try to make the next album better than the last? Do you feel the pressure from?
I have done. You go through phases. For the last album, Trust the Wire, I definitely struggled a bit. After The Long Way, which is the album before that, we were signed to Ireland and we'd moved to London, and it was all, we don't get me wrong, we didn't go in naive and think that it was all going to take off for us, but I definitely had ambition with that album that it would properly kick us on a bit further outside Ireland, and for whatever reason it didn't really work out as much as I hoped, and long way is arguably our most successful album, definitely here radio play wise anyway, but and it did break ground for us outside Ireland, but maybe not quite as much as I'd hoped. And you know, Ireland, we were one of the statistics, like many bands who signed to a major, you know, 1 in 10 bands that signed to a major are the one you hear about, and the other 9 you don't hear about. And you know, we got dropped by Ireland, and it hit me a little bit though, because the Coronas has always been baby steps forward. Like, it's always been moved up through the venues. We you know, we were, the first couple of albums were off our own bat, sort of our own little independent label here, and you know, we got a little bit of play and a little bit more play, and then the next album will come out and take us on a little bit, and we build up through the venues, and so there's always baby steps forward, which I think was good for us and good for keeping our crowd, like, you know, because they sort of grew with us, if that makes sense. And so yeah, that was the first little knock back, and I think we then moved back to Ireland after that, and it was a little bit like, I think that affected me subconsciously. At the time I was probably like, no, I'm grand, sure, we knew what the, you know, what the major labels are like, you know, we didn't expect it to be, you know, didn't expect to just take off and be easy, like, you know. But I think definitely it hit me a little bit, and I think the biggest, I wouldn't say I had writer's block, but what I had was I would sit down and write, and before I even let an idea develop, I would be just like, that's crap, you know. So I'd sit down for 10 minutes and, you know, do something, and I go, no, that's crap, and I throw it away. Where I think oftentimes the key to writing is sitting down and sticking with a crap idea for 2 hours until you get one little moment of magic, and you go, that little turn there in that line, that's good. Yeah, that's something there. Like, let me just start on that. Forget it. Forget the 2 hours that I've just done. Do you know? And I think that was definitely a moment for me. And thank God, because when we were writing away with Trust the Wire, we wanted to do the new album, and I was struggling to write about, what am I going to write about? I don't want to write about the same things. And so I ended up writing about Ireland dropping us. And a song like We Couldn't Fake It is about that. Give Me a Minute is the same. And they're two of the strongest songs probably on Trust the Wire. And they're about just like giving yourself a break, reminding yourself of why you do what you love doing, like, and doing it for the right reasons, and, you know, giving yourself a pat on the back and going, it's all right. Like, you know, sometimes things don't work out, but as long as you remind yourself why you're doing this, and remind yourself how much you love it, you know, that's really important. Like, so I got over that, and now with the new one, you know, we got a knock when Dave turned around to us in August and said that he had enough, and he wanted to change, and, you know, there was other things in his life that he always wanted to do, and he was going to take a break from the band, and that was like a knock initially. And I was like, God, is this like the beginning of the end? Maybe we should just finish writing this album and just put it out, and then maybe we should just break up, like, you know. But it was only after that, and after sort of reflecting on that a little bit and talking to Noxie and Egan, that we sort of went, no, you know what, like, let's just move forward. This might be it. In a weird way, it gave me a new lease of life with writing. It's just the change, and sometimes something going wrong, I think, or something unexpected can make you work harder and just spark something in you. And I ended up writing from when Dave told me that he was leaving in August or maybe July. Like, I wrote 80% of our most recent album, even though I had a load of songs written before and songs that David worked on, we'd all written together. Most of the album, we've literally just finished it last month, came in August, September and October, and they're all like, it's funny because I haven't really spoken about it yet, but like, and it's great because there's no big fallout. Dave finished out the gigs, he'll be there in the INEC on the 29th, and, you know, it's a cool way to finish, like, on a high, and he can go off and do his own things, and the door will always be open if he wants to come back. But it still is a breakup. Like, it's the biggest breakup I've ever gone through, you know. People talk about Corona's depressing breakup songs, like most of my relationships are like a year and a half long, you know, whereas Dave was in the band for 13 years, and it's the biggest, and it's like a marriage, like. And, you know, so I couldn't help but write about that. And a lot of the songs in the album people are going to think are heartbreaking breakup love songs, but they're actually about us as a band, and us and our relationships, and and him leaving and deciding to do that, and me hoping he's all right, and him hoping we're all right, you know.
Describe the new songs. What are we expecting?
I think they're different. It's a hard question to answer. I'm really excited about them. That's all I can say. Like, I think, you know, you never know. Like, sometimes we've recorded songs that I think, you know, this is going to be a huge song for us, and it might not get as much play or whatever. It's hard to know. And then you look at what defines success. Is if you're selling more, or is if you're like more proud of the music that you're working on. Who knows? I think success is just being happy, and that's the one thing I talk about. We were chatting about it the other day, and it's like someone asked me, and like, oh, do you wish that you guys like took off bigger outside Ireland? And I do. Like, there's a big part of me that still has ambition for us to continue to build, and we've been lucky enough now that we can tour in America, we can tour in Australia, and, you know, more than break even, which is great because we love it. We love traveling, we love spreading our music as much as we can, and thank God it's, you know, we can afford to do it, and as I say, we can actually make a bit of money off it, and same the UK and Europe. But there is a part of me that wishes we took off bigger, but at the same time, there's no guarantee that would make me happier, you know, and you could be the biggest band in the world and be miserable. Like, so I'm just grateful that I'm in a good place now, and I'm happy, and I'm just getting on with my life, and, you know, I have my little house here in Rathmines, and I'm just happy day to day. Like, I'm in a good spot, like, and I think that's success. I have my dream job, and I write songs, and I play, and thankfully people still want to come and see us, and we can do big gigs. I'm just happy, like, and I think that's as much success as anything, like, you know. But the new stuff is just a continuation of that. Like, I'm really proud of it. I'm really excited about it. We've done some co-writes with different people. That was another thing, because me and Dave were the main songwriting duo in the band. When he left in August, or he told us he was leaving, I was like, okay, well, am I going to just finish this off myself and write all the songs myself? And I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to just write with all my mates, like, and I wrote with a lot of different other people, and my sister Roisin and John Bro from Thanks Brother wrote a couple of songs with them, wrote 2 songs with a great producer here in Harold's Cross in Dublin called Cormac Butler, who produced Academic's new stuff, and he's done stuff with All Twins and all, and just went down to his studio and worked on a couple of ideas, and just wrote in different ways, and tried different things. And Keane from Two Tides, another great songwriter, went down to his studio in Rathmines, wrote a bit with him. And the 2 boys from Picture This I co-wrote a song with as well, Jimmy and Ryan, and that was great, really good. And like, so we were just, let's just write, and I was feeling real creative and loads of stuff pouring out of me. And it was cool writing with different people and seeing. I co-wrote a song with Alfie from Hudson Taylor and his girlfriend Gabrielle Applin, who's brilliant. I went over to Brighton to their house and stayed with them for a weekend, and I think that's probably one of the strongest songs on the album. And it's actually a feature of, so Gabrielle's singing on the song as well. It sounded great with her voice. So it's the Coronas featuring Gabrielle Applin, and it's turned out really, really cool. I think it's definitely the one that when I play for people, like my mates and stuff, they're like, oh yeah, that's a banger, like, you know. It's just it's a cool song, like, and I'm real proud of it. And so yeah, I'm really, it's hard to describe what the new album is like, but all I can say is we're really happy with it. Like, literally on the walk in here this morning to do the podcast, we got mixes back from the mixing engineer Eduardo, and you know that moment where you're hearing things back and you're going, no, I'm happy with that, you know, which is so cool, like, you know. And it's not like, will this work? Cause like, you never know. Like, we're now, as you say, we're 6 albums in. There's a whole new wave of bands coming through, likes of Picture This, Wild Youth, Academic, you know, yourself, loads, on all a whole new generation of singers and people vying for that radio play, you know, and the radio play was always the thing that kept us going. So we sort of were like, do we want to try and compete with those bands, or let's just do our own thing? We have a big following. We don't need to think about singles, you know, and radio songs. Let's just do an album that we like. And I think because we approached it that way, we ended up getting more radio friendly songs. And I think there is a couple of songs that hopefully, will do well when they come out. So yeah, really proud of it. Like, music is coming middle of January, brand new single, and we'll be gearing up for going at it again, like as a 3-piece, you know, and it's going to be great.
You seem incredibly confident and passionate about the new stuff.
Yeah, well, again, like I'm not confident it's going to be huge or it's going to take off. It's going to be that, or who knows? Like I don't know that, but I am confident in. I'm just happy that I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
You know, and you can only compare to albums I've probably never been as excited about this batch of songs as I have been before, and it's but in confidence in that how well it's going to do, I've no idea.
Yeah,
I've no idea. Like, you know yourself, when you release a song, you're so proud of it, and you're like, you want to get it out there, and you believe in it.
Yeah.
You know, but you never know how it's going to go. And we've released singles before that I was like, I don't think this is the strongest song on the album, and it would get played off the air, and then we'd release another one and go, yeah, we need to get this out. This is the one, like, and it wouldn't get as much play, like, you know. So you just never know sometimes as well. So I think, again, if you take that, that's one thing that I've done as well that's helped my mental health and my happiness, is separating myself a little bit from that and just going, right, well, the only thing that I need to worry about is what I can control, and I'm proud of this, and this is, I think it's cool, and I'm excited about playing it for my mates. You know, that sort of thing, and that's it. And then if it goes really well for it, and that, don't get me wrong, like, we'll be out there working it and promoting it and hoping that the radio plays it, and, you know, trying to get things. We're at that stage now where the album's not coming out till May, but we're trying to get everything set up overseas, and then licensing the album to UK and Germany and Australia, and planning American tours and all this sort of stuff, and I'm fully in that moment right now where I'm not really worried about writing. I haven't written since we've recorded, but I'm more just focused on that stuff. And then once the album comes out, probably I'll stop worrying about that stuff and just let the label side of things deal with that, and I'll start thinking about trying to write some ideas for the next one, like, you know, because I find the earlier you do that, even if I get one song even before the next album comes out, before the new album comes out, that I'm happy with for the next one, that'll start me off, and I'll be like, whereas if I leave it, and that was another thing that happened with Trust the Wire, I left it for ages. We were promoting and touring Long Way for a long time, and I left it for ages, and it just started to weigh on me, going, Jesus, Danny, you have to start writing the next one, like. And all of a sudden it was like, okay, we're going to record in 3 months, like, you need to start writing the next one, like, you know. Whereas I find if you get a couple of songs early that you're proud of and you're excited about, it just starts to fall into place, and you're like, yeah, I've got 5 or 6 songs there that's the guts of the album there already. Okay, let's improve on that, and it's easier to go, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about the next couple of years. Who knows? As I say, yeah, I'm confident in that. I'm happy with it, but I'm not confident that's going to be huge or take us on. Who knows? You know, as I say, we're just grateful to be still doing it, like, you know. And
have you filled a replacement for Dave?
No, I don't think we could ever replace him.
Yeah. So
I think we're going to just be a 3-piece, you know, for the moment. And I mean, we have session musicians that play with us live. Johnny McSharry's playing piano with us for years, and
he's missing a tooth. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. We got one.
Did he get a new one?
Yeah, he got it replaced. Johnny's a great man. But so he's been sort of our 5th member on stage for years, but he isn't really involved in, say, the songwriting process and recording. So we might get another guitar player to play with us live, you know, and is part of the live thing and plays the parts, but isn't an official member. I think that's probably the way we're leaning at the moment. And as I say, you know, in a couple of years, so I definitely think Dave will gig with us again, whether it's in a year or whether it's in 2, 3, 4 years, who knows. But I definitely think, you know, I'm already thinking next Olympia's, next Christmas, he has to come down and do at least a couple of songs, you know. So he just wasn't enjoying it anymore, and he wanted to do other things, as I said, and I totally respect his decision. It was a brave decision to make, you know. Yeah. And so yeah, he'll without a doubt he'll be missed.
Does he have children?
No, Dave doesn't have any kids. Yeah. So, but he wants to do some other things, and, you know, I think he had been thinking about it for a while. I was still a little bit surprised when he said it, but I know it's not a decision he would take lightly, so I totally respected it, like, you know. And
it's definitely something he would have thought long and hard about.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, because it's not for everyone, like, as well. People think that it's. I love it so much that, in a way, it's almost seems easy to me, but it's not. And I've talked to other people in bands about this as well, and there's been plenty of other stories of people in successful bands who are just like, nah, this isn't for me. I'm not enjoying it anymore. Like, and I'm not enjoying it. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where he wants to do other things, and he wants to go back to college and start look at other aspects of his life. And as I say, I'm proud of him for doing that. And I actually think it'll make us closer in a weird way. It's like I said this to someone before. Like, we were all mates before the band started, and we spent so much time together, writing together, working together. We lived together in London as well. Yeah. Like, your relationship changes, like, and you need a break from each other as well, like, and as I say, I think this will actually make us closer in a weird way, like, as friends, like,
But it's not uncommon. I mean, if you look at the Killers, even their guitar player and their bass player left at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was just the singer and the drummer.
Yeah.
One of them went back to college, and then the other guy, I think, wanted to focus on his family for a while.
Yeah.
And then, just during the week, the guitar player from the Chili Peppers is coming back.
No way, yeah.
So after...
Well, that happened with Foo Fighters as well. And they bring all the guitar players. Now they have like 6 guitar players.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it's like they brought a few... Well, they had 2 different guitar players, 3 maybe, and then they're all just play live with them, and it's all part of it now, like, Yep. But yeah, it's not uncommon. I heard the Falls as well last year, their bass player left and just wanted to do other things. And so, yeah, I mean, but as I say, when it first happened, we had that moment of, well, what do we do now, because Dave was 1/4 of the band, like, or 1/5 if you include our manager, like, which we would do, so it was definitely a moment of, well, should we just, I got a shock and I was like, should we just take a break, or should we, maybe this is the beginning of the end type thing. But fair play to the lads, Noxie and Egan, rallied around and said, you know what, no, like, we've still more to do, we're enjoying it, how can we, the gigs are amazing, and people still want to hear music, let's do this album and see what happens, who knows what'll happen, so.
I think you're probably one of the hardest working Irish bands.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people know that, and they respect you because of that. You have 6 albums isn't something a lot of bands can say they have. Yeah,
I think I only sort of appreciated that in recent times. It is something to be proud of, to stay together for that long, because there isn't too many bands do it, and thankfully we've been able to do it because we've had a bit of success. But yeah, I mean, I do think we work hard. We're constantly at it, and even in the last year, with the last album, we started our own record label as well. So there's all this other stuff that, and you think, we'll do our own label, it'll be grand, like, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, and balancing everything together, and it's definitely been an eye-opening experience for us, and our poor manager Jim Lawless is amazing. Like, he's taken the brunt of it, and he's managing the band and the label, and he works so hard. He's amazing, but it definitely almost probably surprised us, and it made us work harder, because if you have a label, like a label that you are signed to, and if something isn't going well, it's very easy to just go, the label didn't do this and the label aren't doing that. Whereas if you're your own label, you've only yourself to look at, you've no one else to blame. So, it's definitely made us work harder. Like, when you're going, okay, well, why isn't this happening? All right, well, we got to sort it out. And we'll be having meetings and, like, messaging each other every day, what's going on, and looking after the label side of things as well, making sure the album is distributed right, and everything right down to publishing and licensing and all this sort of stuff that has sort of become part of it. And you have to sort of take a bit of ownership over these days, because it's not like it used to be, where a label would just come and throw a load of money at you and say, we'll do everything for you, and just go, all right. And, so these days you have to, keep on top of that. But it's great having our own label. Like, and I think, I've said this before, I think that maybe the label might outlast the Coronas in a way. Like, and if we ever say, let's take a break, we might look at, developing acts, or, we'll see. At the moment, it's not the right time. We haven't got time for it, but down the road, for sure, I definitely think we have a little label that we've made now, and we have contacts, and we know how the industry, especially here, works, and there's definitely some expertise we could offer to young bands, or young singer-songwriters or acts or whatever it is, at some stage in the future. I wouldn't rule it out, but as I say, it doesn't feel right now. We've no time, but one day.
I think just going back to your guitar player, because I was mistaken for the guitar player of the Coronas one night with you, because we ended up crashing a wedding.
We
Remember
did.
that night?
Oh, I'll never forget it. What a night.
We were just walking past the window of the hotel, and there was the bride and groom inside, and you were like, come on, we'll come in and bring in the guitar. So I just stood next to you, and you sang Heroes or Ghosts, and I kind of did I'm not great at backing vocals.
Not at all. No bother to.
Yeah, so they were getting pictures of the two of us for the whole night, and then
and you weren't correcting anyone saying you weren't the guitar player in the band.
I was just enjoying being in the Coronas for a while. That's why I was saying, if you're looking for your new guitar player,
yeah, exactly, you're definitely a lookalike option.
We have pictures up on the internet somewhere.
That's it. No, that's good. Yeah, no, that's funny. That happens sometimes. Yeah, when I'm out with my mates, even as well, the odd time, like where they're just like, you're in the band as well, aren't you? And they'd be like, Yes, I am.
Yeah. So,
but no, that's it. You and Dave both have that good-looking sort of musician vibe to you.
Thanks very much. Well, that's a compliment coming from you. I'd love to know, like, what do you think when you listen back to your very first, not even album, but even songs you might have written before that even you didn't even release? What do you feel when you listen back to them, if you do?
I sort of definitely. I think with the first album feels like a batch of demos we did, like, you know. So I would think of the first album when I think of our stuff, because there was one EP I think we did before, but I think it was just a live EP thing. We might have had one other small one. Excuse me, but So I don't know. We were very naive, but there's this charm in the naivety. Like I look at songs like San Diego Song now, and like I wouldn't be able to write a song like that now.
Yeah.
And there's something in those lyrics that, even though they lack depth, I suppose, because it's sleep all day, drink all night, you know, but they're not fake, you know. Yeah. So you can't. I think if you try and write a song like that from a fake perspective or from a contrived way of, I'll try and tap into this student vibe, it's not going to work. But because that was genuine, I think that's why it worked, you know. And we were in college and we were doing that, and we were just literally just having the crack and going on J1s, and that's what the song was about. And as I say, I think, you know, people would have seen through it if it was contrived or fake and anything. But as I say, I couldn't write a song like that now, like, you know. Yeah. But so I look back almost in like in envy of my younger self, going, I used to write a song in a day, like, and I would be real, just like, I'd write a song and I'd go, that's it, doesn't matter. And I wouldn't look at changing lyrics. I wouldn't overthink things. Yeah. Even if I didn't feel that way the next day, I'd be like, no, that's the way I felt yesterday, and it doesn't matter, I'm happy with that, that's done. Yeah. Like, and I wouldn't be. Whereas now, I think as you get older, you get a little bit more self-critical, and you're going, oh, should I change that? Should I change that? And is that okay? And can I say that? Is that cool? Is that all right to say that? Like, you know, and you have all the
2019.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Is it fair? Yeah. I mean, there's a song on our first album. I wasn't even saying it. There's a song on our first album called Filto that is not PC in 2019. Yeah. It might have been PC in 2007, just about. Yeah. But now it's not at all. Like, so it's funny how that stuff changes.
So you can never play that live.
Not really. Like, we did it. I think we did it last year, and as we were doing it, we were sort of looking. She's like, oh, jeez, I forgot about this song. Like, because we did one of the Olympias, we decided to play each night. We said we'd go back and play each album. Yeah. Sort of like we do maybe 6 or 7 songs off each album, and then do a sort of mixture of hits for the rest of them. Like, yeah. So we went back to doing the first album. I was like, God. So, but yeah, I definitely look back with sort of envy and sort of, but like we were so green. Like we hadn't even gigged outside Dublin, never mind outside Ireland. Like, we hadn't really gotten our sound. We just had a bunch of songs. We didn't even really know we were doing an album. We went in and recorded a couple of songs. Let's do 5 songs, and one of them might be a single. And then we do another. Sure, there's 12 songs there. We'll just put them out, like, you know. And that was pretty much our first album. Like, but we had a few tunes on it. Like, Here's Our Ghost is on it. Arguably still the best song that I've ever written. Like, you know what I mean? And you know, that was on it. There's some good tunes on it, like, you know, and it had just we weren't even playing to click track. There was no synths or fancy stuff. It was real, just the 4 of us banging out in a room, pure energy, you know, rushing the songs, getting faster, the whole thing, like, you know. But again, that it has a charm, like a naive sort of charm that is different to now. But I look back and I sort of go, I don't cringe at them. Yeah. Even San Diego Song, I don't listen to it and cringe and go, oh, how could I be writing that? Like, I'm actually sort of like, as I say, envious that I was able to write it. You know, but Jesus.
But it probably kind of captured your youth, like
100%. And it was a real accidental thing because we thought it was just a mess song that was just going to be a B-side. Like back then, there was things called B-sides. Now they don't really exist. But we were like, I will release a single, we'll put that party song on the B-side, and then we played it a couple of times live, and you could see people reacting to it live, like, and we're going, geez, something in here. And it was the producer of the first album, Joe Chester, who said to us, lads, like, that song is going to turn a few heads, like, you know. And it was 2 minutes 50 seconds or something as well, which is always good for a single to get playing. And we released it, and it, you know, it got a tiny bit of radio play, and we were like, oh, that's great. I think it went to number 27 in the charts, and it sort of started to drop or something. And then just one station in Dublin, F104, got behind it, you know, and started playing it on their A list, and it just then, you know, a month later, the other Dublin regionals are playing it. Then a month later, all the regionals around Ireland are playing it. And then a month later, the nationals are behind it. And then literally the next thing is the last song of the night in Copperface Jacks. Like, and we're in there going, what the hell? Like, you know? So, and then it's, you know, the big song that when, for example, we go down to the INEC and we play and you know, it's everyone singing back to you, and it still is, you know, 13 years later. And it's funny now because obviously then it was students coming to the gigs, and now they've all grown up with us. It's 12 years since that song was released, like 11 anyway, and they're all now people who are 30 or whatever, and you know, but they're still, it's a throwback now. It's like a nostalgia moment, and they're arm in arm singing Sleep All Day, Drink All Night, even though it's not what they do anymore. But it's like, oh, remember that? Like, this takes them back to a moment, as you say, like it sort of encapsulates. It takes them back to that. Oh, I remember being in college and that song was everywhere. Like, you know.
I saw your set at Electric Picnic last year. Was it last year? That was one of my highlights of the whole weekend. Man, and that tent was packed.
It was so good. That was honestly one of my top 5 gigs of all time, like, that we've done. We were on at 12:15 on Saturday, like midnight. And in the tent, and we sort of.
We were all well oiled now at that stage.
I know, but I thought the crowd were going to seem drunker, but they were so with us. Like, everyone in that tent, like, you know, like, if you know yourself from gigging, you say, put your hands in the air, like, and you might have 50%, 60% people doing it, but I felt like everyone in that tent was with me. Like, I could have said anything and they would have come with me. They were on the buzz, like. And it was just special atmosphere, 100%. And you, like, loads of people have said to me, I've seen you loads of times, but there was some special atmosphere in the air in that tent that night, and 100%. And as I say, it was almost like a surprise for us. Just went in thinking it was going to be a festival buzz, a drunken crowd, and, you know, a bit of crack and go for it, and it'd be party atmosphere. And it was all that as well, but it was there was something in the air. It was just like, wow.
I felt the same thing I felt that night as the first night Jenny Green and the orchestra played. Right,
yeah. I haven't seen that show. I heard it's amazing.
That was the first one the year I've been going the last, I'd say, 7 years. It's an annual pilgrimage now at this stage.
Nice.
But
we'll be back there this year as well.
Are you going back?
I'm not meant to announce it yet.
No, you're not supposed to.
Saturday apparently. So excited about heading back there.
Main stage
on Saturday, but you didn't hear from me if anyone else, because that's the secret.
We'll have to edit this out. Remind me to edit this out.
No, say no. I always do that. I always give away things that I'm not meant to.
Well, I'll be definitely there anyway. So we'll. All right.
Sure, it's all sold out anyway, isn't it?
I think
Electric
so.
Picnic.
Yeah, it is actually.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, because we were doing a big show, I think, at the first weekend of August in Dublin. We're doing this. Here, I'll give you another exclusive because we're not announcing until January, but we're decided to put on our own festival. So we were renting Kilruddery House in Bray where they put on Groove Festival. We're doing our own festival. We still have to name it, but we're doing 3 nights. We're going to headline each night. So it's our own festival. We might as well headline it every night, but we're putting on bands like for all day for the 3 nights, and get our favourite bands in, a couple of bands in from the UK as well, and basically put on our own festival. Pick all the food, we might get 2 stages, you know. And just do our own festival. So I think they're going to wait until that sells a bit before they announce it for people.
Is it kind of along the same vibe as Mumford and Sons?
That Gentleman on the Road. Exactly. Yeah, that type of thing. So we have to come up with a name for it. Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
You're becoming like a commodity now at this stage between running the record label and then setting up festivals.
Well, it's funny.
There's more than just the Coronas.
Well, that's it. And one thing we were saying, you never know down the road, like maybe next year, if this festival that we're putting on goes well, you never know, we might like take over a day of another festival, like the way Mumford did as well, and they could have one. So you never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think because we've been doing it for so long as well, and there was an offer of just doing a normal 3 Arena again or something. We're just like, we can't just do something that we've done 2 years ago. Like we need to, if we want people to keep coming back, we need to give them something different and do it a different way. And, like no one wants to say, I was at your 4th 3 Arena. The 3rd one was a little bit better than the 4th. You know what I mean? So it's just like we want to do something different, like,
Yeah.
So we're looking at doing different things, and that's even the similar thing with the way we did the tour in Dublin this year. We didn't want to just do another 2 Olympias for the sake. We wanted to try something different, and we're always trying to keep it fresh. So it's not just another,
Yeah.
But sorry, I digressed there. What were we talking about before?
Or just your
EP.
new festival.
Oh yeah, the festival. Yeah, so that's gone up on the August Bank Holiday weekend, and then EP will be then.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're not slowing down at all. You're only getting faster.
Yeah, man. It's. I mean, definitely for the next year, we had one of those band meetings where we look at what's coming up between touring, and we're going to be touring America, Australia, Europe, UK all next year. So. Yeah, it's going to be a busy year. I'm really excited about it. As I say, the best thing is I'm excited about the new music. So, as I say, you caught me walking in listening to the new mixes with 2 coffees in me as well. So I'm probably extra excited. But no, it's all cool, and we're so excited getting back down to the INEC as well. Like, that's always great crack. And then just have New Year's off. As I told you before, I'm still going to stay down in Clarny on the 30th, have a bit of crack, then go down to Dingle for a few days.
Yeah.
I might go back down there in January as well, and just, as I say, I like it down there when it's quiet as well, and do a bit of riding and see how we go. But we're blessed, so long may it continue.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to find out how next year goes for you.
Thanks very much.
And thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers, bud. Thanks a million.
Cheers,
Enjoyed
man.
it.
Thanks for listening to the Gleneagle INEC Arena podcast. If you liked this podcast, make sure you subscribe to this channel and follow us online for more.